Hi, this is Jay Jones. I'm the pastor at Redeemer Community Church of Cache. I want to invite you to a church conference that several local churches in southwest Oklahoma have partnered together. I think it's going to be great. The focus is going to be on the gospel this year, and this conference is called Christ-Centeredness Churches Conference. And our idea is that we would, in a culture that has many ideas about what the gospel is, that we would focus in on the biblical gospel and then work out implications that flow from there. So this conference is going to be great. It's going to have 5 main sessions. The first one will be explaining just what is the gospel. Then coming from that, we're going to look at the Christian worldview and how the gospel shapes what a worldview is. A worldview is how you look at the world around you. So we're talking about who is God, who is man, how are we reconciled with God, and that is all going to be in that second one. Then third, we're going to be looking at Christ and the gospel in the Old Testament. Many people today, I think, read their Bible in kind of this fashion where it's you got the Old Testament and your New Testament, and your Old Testament's a bunch of good moral lessons. Then you get to the New Testament, and that's about the gospel. That's about Jesus. But Jesus, after his resurrection on the road to Emmaus, he appeared to some of his disciples, and he explained to them all that was written about him from the whole Old Testament. So we have Christ all over the Bible. And so that third session is going to be crucial in helping to inform us how do we actually read our Bible. I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Then fourth, we have what does the gospel do to a group of people? So you think about it. As a church, what should we do now with this gospel? And Paul makes it clear to the Philippian church that they are to be advancing the gospel. So that's number 4, and we call that the gospel militant. So that in that culture, they had opponents, and Paul says, live your lives worthy of the gospel. And it means that you will advance the gospel together. And that's number 4. And number 5, it will all end, as all things must end for the Christian, in the glory of God, where we have looking at the glory of God in the gospel. Sometimes we can wrongly assume the gospel is about people. But when we look at the Bible, it's very clear. The gospel is something God is doing to bring great glory to himself, and he receives glory for all that he does. So the glory of God in the gospel. And then also in this conference, there is going to be Christ-centered worship before each of these main sessions. It's going to be great, and then we'll have numerous breakout sessions in between that will build off of these main sessions. And our idea is to equip pastors and to equip your everyday churchman, your Christian, to live a life that is shaped by the gospel, and hopefully we can bring glory to God in all that we do as churches in Southwest Oklahoma.